far beyond the edges of familiar civilization. The Arctic and Antarctic seas stretch out like vast, frozen oceans of mystery. These polar frontiers are some of the most remote and inhospitable places on Earth, where brutal winds howl relentlessly, temperatures plunge far below freezing, and endless ice sheets creep beneath eerie twilight skies. It is in this strange and isolated world, where few dare to venture and even fewer return with stories that stretch the imagination, that countless legends and rumors have taken root. Among these tales is one of the most bizarre and unsettling. An elusive creature whispered about by crews aboard Japanese research vessels exploring these frozen waters. Known as the Ningen, which translates simply to human in Japanese. This alleged sea entity is described in hushed tones as a humanoid figure of enormous size, with a smooth, stark white body that blends seamlessly with the icy environment. According to several unverified reports passed quietly between researchers and fishermen, the Ningen is said to possess features reminiscent of both human and aquatic life, often described with a face, eyes, and limbs, but disproportionately massive and ghostly pale, as if something from a forgotten nightmare had slipped beneath the waves. But who exactly first reported the Ningen? Some say it emerged from the deep discussions and message boards of Japanese whale research teams in the early 2000s, while others trace it back to obscure anecdotal accounts shared decades earlier by icebreakers and fishing crews navigating these icy waters. What sets the Ningen apart from other sea monster stories is how its appearances seem to consistently share eerie details. Its great size, humanoid shape, and near-translucent skin blending with the Antarctic snowscape. Yet, despite the intrigue, the existence of a Ningen remains firmly in the realm of folklore and rumor. No confirmed photographic evidence or scientific documentation substantiates these sightings. The cold, dark depths of the southern oceans are notoriously difficult to study, and the vastness of the environment leaves much to imagination and misinterpretation. Some propose that the Ningen may be a misunderstood whale or a giant squid glimpsed under strange light conditions, while others believe it is a cryptid, a creature that exists just beyond the edges of human knowledge. The mystery is further deepened by the eerie atmosphere that surrounds these waters. The silent, frozen seascape itself seems to encourage stories of the unknown, an eldritch stage that sparks the human mind to conjure shapes from mist and ice, where isolation and endless white horizons blur the lines between reality and fantasy. In these conditions, even the most mundane sight can twist into something extraordinary, feeding the fires of local legend and the imaginations of those who work far from the comforts of land. As the icy winds whistle over frozen waves, the Ningen continues to captivate a niche but passionate following. It is a legend that hangs between science and myth, fact and folklore. A spectral creature born from the mysteries of the polar oceans, seen through the eyes of those who brave the coldest, loneliest places on the planet. The stories of the Ningen began to surface more prominently in the early 2000s, primarily among Japanese sailors and fishermen navigating the frigid waters of the Antarctic and Arctic Oceans. These accounts often come from those who spent nights aboard ships, scanning the ice-laden horizons or working in near-freezing temperatures where even the smallest glimpse of movement captures intense attention. According to these first-hand reports passed quietly among crews, the Ningen is described as a gigantic humanoid figure, sometimes as long as 20 to 30 meters, a colossal size that instantly commands awe and fear. Witnesses paint a picture of a creature with smooth, pale skin almost translucent against the backdrop of glistening ice, limbs that resemble arms and legs in proportion and shape, yet oddly lacking the details one might expect from a known animal. Its head, they say, sometimes bears soft, vaguely human facial features, eye sockets set wide apart, a mouth, and a nose, though often these details remain shadowy, as if glimpsed through a thick fog or beneath shifting waves. Interestingly, many who claim to have seen the Ningen describe its movement as deliberate yet slow, almost as if it were a gentle giant drifting beneath the surface. This fluid motion sets it apart from marine creatures that typically dart or swirl quickly through the water. Some sailors liken the Ningen to a massive mermaid or a humanoid whale, a comparison that invites speculation but also raises questions. For example, known marine mammals like belugas and narwhals do share the Arctic habitat and have pale coloring, but none reach the terrifying scale or bear the clear humanoid form recounted in these tales. Giant squids, too, inhabit deep Antarctic waters and are occasionally sighted, their long limbs and enormous eyes often fueling mysterious sea monster legends. Yet, no verified scientific reports align exactly with the Ningen's vague but distinctive description. What adds another layer to this mysterious lore is the glaring absence of tangible evidence. Despite decades of seafaring in these icy domains, there are no confirmed photographs, video footage, or physical remains attributed to the creature. This absence has led many to suspect that the Ningen is a product of misidentification. Perhaps a large whale angled in strange light, a floating iceberg, or merely optical illusions made vivid by isolation and the human imagination. Others argue that the extreme conditions and vast expanse of polar waters simply allow for entities undiscovered by science to exist just beyond our reach. The legend of the Ningen was propelled into wider consciousness through niche online communities and forums dedicated to marine mysteries and cryptids. These platforms became spaces where enthusiasts shared encounters, speculated on the creature's origins, and pieced together scattered reports. Marine folklore, ever receptive to tales of unknown sea life, quickly absorbed the Ningen's story, framing it alongside ancient myths of water spirits, kelpies, and ghostly guardians of the deep. Speculative theories emerged from this collective curiosity. Some propose the Ningen might be an undiscovered species evolved to survive in extreme cold. Others imagine it as an intelligent, perhaps even extraterrestrial being camouflaged within the Antarctic environment. As we delve deeper into the enigma of the Ningen, a range of plausible explanations come into focus, each reflecting how human perception interacts with the vast, lonely expanse of the polar seas. One likely scenario is simple misidentification. In such extreme environments, where visibility fluctuates and shapes are often obscured by ice, fog, or darkness, even the most seasoned observers can mistake natural phenomena for something otherworldly. Floating ice chunks or unusual whale positions might create silhouettes that seem humanoid from a distance. The interplay of icy reflections and water movement can easily distort shapes, leading to illusions that spark stories of giant white beings beneath the waves. Moreover, certain creatures native to these cold waters, like beluga whales or large squid, carry physical traits, such as pale skin or elongated limbs, that might contribute to the confusion. Early or hurried sightings are especially prone to embellishment as the mind tries to fill in blanks during moments of uncertainty or fatigue. Another angle considers the role of deliberate fabrications or exaggerations. The online forums and message board where the Ningen legend thrived are breeding grounds for speculation, rumor, and sometimes intentional hoaxes. Stories of cryptids and sea monsters often flourish in such spaces because they tap into a universal love for mystery and the unexplained. In this sense, the Ningen might partly owe its existence to the cultural practice of myth-making, a way for isolated communities or enthusiasts to share a unifying story that brings excitement and wonder to otherwise harsh and uneventful surroundings. The rapid spread of these tales is fueled by the internet's ability to amplify intriguing but unverified accounts, turning whispered rumors into widely recognized legends. Beyond misidentification and potential fabrications, the legend of the Ningen taps into a deeper, almost archetypal fascination humans have with the sea. Oceans are among the last great frontiers, places where unknown creatures might still lurk beyond the reach of scientific scrutiny. Since ancient times, maritime cultures have spun tales of monstrous beings, lost civilizations, and spectral guardians to explain the dangers and mysteries of the deep. The Ningen fits snugly into this tradition, embodying the uncanny blend of fear, curiosity, and awe that the open ocean inspires. It represents not just a possible creature, but a symbol of the unknown itself. This allure sustains the story even without solid proof. Researchers and sailors alike report encounters with odd, unexplained phenomena in these extreme environments, and such experiences naturally fuel speculation about strange beings beneath the ice. In the end, the Ningen remains an unresolved story, an intriguing legend perched somewhere between nature, imagination, and folklore. Whether it is a giant misunderstood animal, a clever myth born from internet culture, or a psychological manifestation of loneliness and isolation, the Ningen occupies a unique place in modern maritime mystery. It reminds us that in the vast, icy frontiers of the polar seas, not everything is readily explained. And maybe, just maybe, some mysteries are meant to linger, unsolved and ever inviting the human mind to wonder.